It's a whole family of supers! Looks like I've hit the jackpot! Oh, this is just too good!
Few superhero franchises perfectly balance narratives about saving the world and raising a family, but The Incredibles is close to being the best. The two films in the franchise so far follow the Parr family as they try to hide their unique gifts from normal society, hiding the fact that Bob and Helen were once notable heroes known worldwide. The couple works together to raise their 3 children while taking a leap back into heroics, helping protect the world and prove that super abilities can benefit everyone. At the recent D23 event, Disney announced they had an Incredibles 3 in the works, but we needed more information about the plot or the characters. In today's video, we'll discuss one of the most prominent parts of any good superhero story, the villain, including how they could be someone from Helen's past, their motivations, and their story's potential.
Don't wait for permission. Assert yourself and impose your will on the status quo.
Sounds like my brother.
What?
You sound like my brother.
With the Incredibles 3 plot shrouded in mystery, fans have many questions about the next villain the Parr family will face. While the franchise may introduce a new villain for the 3rd film, an existing character still needs to receive his due on the big screen. When the original film developed in the early 2000s, the story focused on an antagonist, Zarek. Still, he is replaced by Syndrome in the story because the film's producers favor the other character. Zarek wasn't entirely scrapped when he didn't make the final cut for The Incredibles. He was reimagined as the main villain for the Boom Studios comic series. Boom Studios' Disney line kicked off with a sequel comic series to The Incredibles in March 2009. The series started with a 4-issue miniseries called Family Matters before transitioning into an ongoing format. He made a compelling villain for many reasons, including his unique skills and personal connections to the Parr family. Due to his vast resources and influence, Zarek became a formidable supervillain. He extended his lifespan to nearly 200 years by utilizing dishonorable methods and advanced technology. He was once involved with Helen until she discovered his true nature, narrowly escaping being exploited for a life-extending experiment. As the leader of the Unforgivables, a new alliance of supervillains, Zarek's current objectives involve targeting the family and the world. Having grown weary of his apparent immortality, he seeks to bring everything down with him. Unfortunately, the storyline's finale was postponed indefinitely when Boom Studios canceled the title in the fall of 2010. Although Marvel reprinted the first 2 story arcs later, the reprints didn't sell well. It seems unlikely that the comic storyline will ever be concluded. This is because the events of Incredibles 2 have made it non-canon, and there is now a different series of comics to tie in with the sequel. While fans were disappointed to see the Incredibles' expanded world come to an end, the loss of Boom Studios' comic line has allowed the characters introduced in the 4 issues to receive revamped designs and storylines and become relevant in the film franchise. Zarek in particular could finally make his film debut over 20 years later, potentially becoming a well-known villain now that supers have regained their legal status. He could seek the ultimate end of the world after experiencing an immortal's long existence, a goal that would require every hero in the Parr family and their allies to step in and stop him.
Let's just at least hear what he has to say.
You got the address? I'll meet you guys there.
Zarek could also maintain his relationship with Helen, with their mutual past revealing information about Elastigirl before she became a hero or met Mr. Incredible, who later becomes her husband. The franchise has already pivoted to support Helen as the primary antagonist, as The Incredibles 2 allows her to act independently and help reinstate supers in the modern world. Winston Deaver, a wealthy businessman, and his sister Evelyn are in charge of DevTech, a telecommunications company. They propose confidential missions to Helen, Bob, and Lucius, aiming to record and broadcast these missions to restore public trust in superheroes. Helen is selected for the first mission because she has caused the most minor property damage, proving herself a capable and trustworthy hero. Helen comes face to face with the supervillain Screenslaver, a hacker who can hypnotize people through screens. She stops Screenslaver from harming a crowded hover train and thwarts an assassination attempt on an ambassador. Helen then tracks Screenslaver's signals, infiltrates his base, and defeats him. However, when she unmasks Screenslaver, she discovers a confused man unaware of his actions. Later, at a party celebrating Helen's heroic deeds, Winston publicly announces a summit of world leaders to legalize supers on live television. The summit will be hosted aboard his luxury hydrofoil yacht, the Everjust, and will be attended by supers ready to come out of hiding. It turns out that Evelyn is the real Screenslaver and she captures Helen. Evelyn immobilizes Helen and neutralizes her self-stretching superpower using her goggles and a freezing cell. Evelyn blames society's excessive reliance on supers for the deaths of her and Winston's parents. She intends to disrupt her brother's summit, tarnish the reputation of all supers once again, and keep them outlawed, believing that the public will be safer without independent crime fighting. With assistance from the rest of her family, Helen defeats Evelyn, leading to the other woman's arrest. The summit is a success, and the world leaders legalize supers again for the first time, allowing Elastigirl, Mr. Incredible, and their children to act freely in the public eye.
He wanted to get caught?
He wanted you to win.
That makes no sense. He's a brilliant guy.
The next film will likely take off after this life-altering event, as each member of the Parr family determines what type of hero they want to become. Helen's second life as Elastigirl could easily continue from there, as she remains close to Winston and is already popular with the public due to her work with DevTech. As Elastigirl becomes more well-known and appears in interviews, she could draw her former flame from the shadows, providing Zarek the perfect opportunity to come out of hiding and use her to achieve his goals, ruining super society, proving Mr. Incredible is inadequate, and giving meaning to his immortal life. Zarek's plot and plan during The Incredibles 3 could draw inspiration from the comic series, rewriting the events to make them canon in the universe. He once hired the villain Bon Voyage to make the Eiffel Tower vanish. Afterward, he is apprehended by Elastigirl, and the information from his interrogation leads her to Zarek, who invites her to join him for dinner. Despite his efforts to persuade her to return to his side, Helen declines any involvement with Zarek. He then orders armed guards to apprehend her, but Mirage, one of the antagonists featured in the original Incredibles, persuades the guards to capture Zarek instead by offering them better compensation. Following his imprisonment, Zarek secretly descends into a concealed chamber, where his self-assembled group of villains wait for him to lead them toward victory. In the final story arc, City of Unforgivables, Zarek implements a plan to tarnish the reputation of the Incredibles. Using Mesmerella's hypnotic abilities, amplified by a machine powered by the disembodied brain of the late superhero Everseer, Zarek manipulates the people of Metroville to turn against the Incredibles. He then dispatches a massive Incredibles-themed robot, controlled by the Underminer, to attack the city in the heroes' name, further damaging their public image. Despite the robot's destruction, the Incredibles' reputation remains in ruins, and they are left with no choice but to leave in disgrace while Zarek emerges victorious. The aftermath of these events is unknown due to the comic's sudden cancellation.
Keep creating new ways to celebrate mediocrity, but if someone is genuinely exceptional,
This is
then
not about you, Bob.
Since the fate of The Incredibles was left up in the air in the unfinished comic line, the film franchise could take Zarek's character in any direction, allowing him to become a prominent and recurring foe for the Parr family to contend with, mainly because he knows Helen's true identity and about her family, which significantly increases the threat he could pose, as Violet, Dash, and Jack-Jack are still learning how to harness and trust their abilities. If Zarek's other plans fail, he could resort to the worst plan of all, putting Helen and Bob's children at risk, a ploy that could grant him revenge on the woman who scorned him and provide proper leverage against the best heroes the Incredibles universe has to offer.
Targets, over.
Trust me, this is the one he's been looking for.
The potential introduction of Zarek as the main antagonist in The Incredibles 3 holds great promise for the franchise. With his rich backstory, personal connections to the Parr family, and compelling role in the Boom Studios comic series, Zarek's on-screen debut could bring a new level of depth and excitement to the beloved series. Including Zarek in The Incredibles 3 could mark a significant milestone in expanding the Incredibles universe, and offer a fresh perspective on the challenges the Parr family will face in their continued adventures.
Right. First a car, now I gotta pay to fix a table.
Car? What happened to the car?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
And when everyone's super, no one will be.